5 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me very great pleasure to welcome you all to this ancient city of Madras and particularly to this historic hall. You will find history staring at you from the front and also from the back. We have retained these pictures on the walls so that we may sometimes feel the change that has taken place. Sometimes it is necessary to remember the past also. That is why we have retained these pictures in this hall. Many of you are perhaps visiting Madras for the first time, and some of you would have come here on many occasions. A few amongst you belong to the Madras state, and it is a coming back to their own home for them. We are particularly grateful to the chairman for having agreed to have the board meeting here. For some time past, the meetings have been held only at Delhi. We suppose from now on the various states will get their chance and the board meetings will be held in all the states. There are certain advantages in having these meetings outside Delhi. It gives one an intimate picture of things happening in the various states. The officers and others concerned are greatly benefited by the visit of eminent educationists from outside the state, and I am sure the visitors also would, in the same way, be benefited by having a look at things in the particular state. It is through this process of mutual consultation that it would be possible for us to make progress. The occasion we are meeting now is of some significance, particularly in a growing and developing country. We are just now going through the process of the completion of the second 5 year plan. There are only 2 years more and we have begun to think of the third 5 year plan. Therefore it is appropriate that we should take into account the experiences we have gained and the lessons we have learnt in formulating the working of the second 5 year plan. I am sure those experiences and lessons would guide us properly for the purpose of formulating the third 5 year plan and more than that in successfully implementing them. We are all aware that when the second 5 year plan was being formulated, persons particularly interested in the development of education were disappointed to a great extent as regards the allocation of resources for the educational development. But I do not think we can blame the Planning Commission for this. I would say that we ourselves are to be blamed because we did not formulate the plan with a reference to physical targets. And what do you mean in terms of finances? We did not place before the Planning Commission perhaps the proper picture unless this time we take steps sufficiently early, we may miss the bus this time also. Therefore, I attach considerable significance and importance to this meeting, particularly at this juncture, because it is now we have to take up this problem of formulating the third 5 year plan. It is not as if during the formulation of the second 5 year plan we did not have a sufficiently clear picture of the developments that were necessary to take place in our country. We had the benefit of very valuable reports, one in respect of university education and the other in respect of secondary education, even though the pictures were given quite clearly and distinctly, still I am afraid it remains merely an academic picture which did not mean anything to the Planning Commission, particularly to the Finance Minister. We have to give these academic targets and objectives a financial picture. Then alone we would be able to carry the Planning Commission and the planners with us. The report of the Secondary Education Commission gave us a picture of how the secondary education should be organized. But that is no fault of theirs. We should have taken steps to see what it means in terms of money. As a matter of fact, we made the attempt. While I welcome you here heartily and sincerely, I hope and trust that this meeting would lead not only to a successful end, but we will also have a successful session here. But the success would depend upon what you begin doing on what we decide here. I have no doubt that within the next 2 years before the third 5 year plan, we do not have even 2 years, we will be taking steps to establish the leadership of this board in the field of education. If we take that lead, I have no doubt that we will be able to convince all those who are engaged in the task of framing the plans that a little more of money would be necessary for the purpose of achieving the physical targets. Dear sirs, we have great pleasure in introducing ourselves as one of the leading transport organizations established under the cooperative sector. We are maintaining at present 50 lorries which are required to ply all over the country carrying goods from place to place. Each vehicle on an average covers a distance of 400 kilometers per day. In view of the keen competition in the field of goods transport, we have made it a point to pay greater attention to the upkeep of the vehicles, but due to the bad conditions of the roads in many parts of the country, it is becoming increasingly difficult for any lorry to make a trip without considerable damage to its important parts. Several parts, not only of the machine but also of the body of the vehicle, require to be replaced more often. We are therefore interested in establishing long standing business connections with some of the reputed dealers of spares of auto parts and accessories in the country for purchase of auto spares. Our annual intent for auto spares and replacements alone will be of the order of about rupees 10 lakhs. The most needed spares are also auto cables, shock absorbers, oil filters, elements, piston rings, cylinder liners, bearings, and other lubrication fittings. We shall be highly obliged if you can send your latest catalog and price list on the above mentioned items together with the terms of supply. We will welcome your taking to credit line of business in our favor. We see no embarrassment if you should choose to write to our bankers at the Central Bank of India, Bank Street, Madras, for a clear appraisal of soundness of our financial position. Besides having a huge workshop and a repair shed in the Auto Nagar, Madras, we have a network of branches throughout the country. We shall be glad to furnish you any further particulars you may desire. thanking you and assuring you that you will find in us the best of the customers you have had at any time. In the past, we remain yours faithfully.